Heather Webb is the USA Today and international best-selling author of 10 historical novels, including her most recent, Queens of London, The Next Ship Home, and Strangers in the Night. In addition, Heather's books have been translated into 18 languages. She lives in New England with her family and 2 mischievous cats. In today's Behind the Book, we talk with Heather about her upcoming novel, The Hope Keeper. What is the story's premise?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. As for the story's premise, so I have a new book. It's coming in May 19th. It's called The Hope Keeper. And it is about the curse of the Hope Diamond, the last woman who owned it. And this is Jazz Age, Washington, D.C., and the beginnings of women working at the Smithsonian Museum, where the diamond now resides. My main character is fictional, and she gets sort of sucked into this elite toxic world of the woman who owns it, and trying to figure out the questions surrounding her brother's death. So it's a little bit of a mystery. There's some intrigue, but it's historical fiction, and there's a lot of immersive world building and all that good stuff that goes with it.
What nugget of history inspired the story?
Oh, the nugget of history that inspired the story. I was a rock collector my whole life, from like age probably 3 on. And in fact, I still have a bunch of rocks and shells that I have found, and an arrowhead, a perfect arrowhead that I found in a construction site for my whole life, like I said. So the Hope Diamond was just another beautiful rock that I wanted to know about. And, obviously being a historical junkie and loving beautiful, shiny things, I couldn't resist looking into a story around the Hope Diamond. I actually had a completely different idea a few years ago, about 6 years ago now, and I wrote up a proposal for it and even some sample chapters, but it wasn't quite working, and my editor was like, no, I don't think so. Let's back burner this for now. So I circled back years later, and kind of a whole new story came together, and I went to DC to the Smithsonian, and suddenly I knew, okay, this is the direction I need to go. So that's kind of a long answer for your question, but the nugget of inspiration really is a lifelong love of rocks.
How would you describe the protagonist's journey?
Oh, a very difficult one. So as a writer, you create a character, or should think about creating a character that struggles within the environment that they are living, and struggles against a big story problem right from the beginning all the way through. And they grow as a result of this problem and as a result of this struggle. So my main character is Elizabeth Beaumont, and she has lost her twin brother in a tragic accident, and needs to know what happened, what went wrong, why he was acting strangely before he died, how this is connected to this family, the McLeans, and that's all completely fictional. But so she has to come, sort of grapple with her grief throughout the course of the book and learn to let go, essentially. In addition to, she's dealing with this elite circle of women that she is way out of her depth with, and it's forcing her to think about her career path, which was a fun aspect of this book too.
How did you go about your research?
Very carefully. Actually, research for me, I have a bit of a process at this point. This is my 11th novel, so although every single book needs different kinds of TLC and a slightly different process in the writing of it, the research process, it tends to be the same. So I do a lot of front loading. I'll collect a whole bunch of sources, resources, primary and secondary sources, and read a ton and make a historical outline that is organized by topic, and that's going to be in the book. And then I try to go to the location as much as possible to be really immersed in the location. So I did spend some time in DC, walking the neighborhoods, and of course I've been to many of the monuments and the museums there. But I returned and went back to the Natural History Museum there, and and saw the Hope Diamond, of course. And I went on a really rainy day, off season, right as they opened, and raced, because I know exactly where it is in the museum, raced to the top up there. And there was still, I can't believe it, still one person beat me there. And she looked at it and then moved on. And so I had like a whole 5 minutes with the Hope Diamond by myself, which is hard to do. It's usually surrounded by dozens of people all the time. So, so I did have boots on the ground, as I like to call it.
Will you be on tour with the Hope Keeper?
I will. I haven't yet announced the locations, but there's several on the East Coast. I've got a couple in the Midwest, and I'm working on a couple out west as well. So I'll be, a mover and a shaker. But that you can find that information on my website, and probably about maybe 2 months or so, and then also through my newsletter, which is also a free newsletter that you can sign up for on my website.
All of Heather's books can be found at your favorite bookstore and your local library. Thanks for joining us at Behind the Book. Happy reading.